The next generation of gaming is going to look a lot different than today. Let's take a look at Microsoft. What's up everybody, Brad here, and we've been doing a series, a deep dive analysis of all the major players in the next generation of gaming. And so you can find all those links down in the description below. But today we are going to be talking Microsoft. And as we've done with everyone else, we're going to be rating them on cloud technology, fan base, IP, services, and of course, hardware. So let's dive into cloud technology really, because I think Microsoft has some of the best cloud technology. Now, granted, they are probably tied with Amazon. Technically, Amazon does make more money, but Microsoft has more data centers. So from a cloud infrastructure footprint, I got to give Microsoft right off the bat an A, because they have built a company, honestly, future based on Azure, and Microsoft understands enterprise services extremely well. They understand latency very well, and they understand how to get the data to you. If you think about it, every Patch Tuesday, which happens the second update or second Tuesday of every single month, they push out patches to over 1 billion PCs around the globe. They understand how to move data. They understand enterprise services, which is what xCloud and all those other things are. They also have the logistics in place to deliver that data, and they can do it in low latency, and Microsoft has products that already demonstrate this, like Cosmo DB, which allows for real-time synchronous databases around the globe. So for cloud, it's an obvious A. Microsoft understands this. They've built their future, quite frankly, on it, and they are showing no signs of slowing down any investment infrastructure there. And when you compare them to things like Google, Nintendo, or Sony, they just can't compete with what Microsoft has. When you consider that a data center costs roughly $1 billion or more to build up, this is not something you can just spin up overnight. Now, when it comes to fan base is going to be a little interesting one, I think, here, because Microsoft has over 60 million active Xbox Live users, so that's a really strong base. They're very loyal to the brand. We know this from generation over generation, and Microsoft does an excellent job of kind of stoking the fires of the Xbox community, right? They have Inside Xbox month happening monthly. They go to E3, they do a whole bunch of fun stuff for the Xbox fans, and they do a good job curating that environment. Now, are they the best in class? That's interesting. And you gotta look at it from a size, because in this arena, size means everything. And I think that they're probably about second, maybe even third, because I think you could argue that Sony and Nintendo likely have a stronger fan base potentially. So I'm gonna give Microsoft a B here. I'm going to give them a solid B. They do a good job, but I don't think that they have the largest fan base, and we know that from console sales. Now, on the IP side, Microsoft has invested a lot of money to get to things for the next generation, but for the current generation, we've seen things like Halo, Sunset Overdrive, Sea of Thieves, Forza. Microsoft has done a good job, but they missed the boat early on, and this really hurt them long term because they've missed some big waves of exclusive games, especially in the latter half of the console's life cycle, which is where Sony has been able to scoop them up. And we know that because of two things. One, how the Xbox launched, about the infamous TV thing. And two, it takes a while for a game to mature. Like when you go from a game idea to game shipping is at minimum 2 years, more likely 3 to 4 years, if not longer. Or it could be a dumpster fire and be even longer than that, like Anthem, and still not ship very well. Games take a while. Microsoft is positioned well. They're positioned much better than, say, companies like Amazon and Google, but I don't think that they're necessarily positioned as well as a company like Nintendo or Sony. For that, I'm going to give them a B with an asterisk. The reason why I put an asterisk there is that Microsoft has bought over a dozen gaming studios, I believe, in the past year. Now, the question is, how is the IP of those gaming studios that they bought going to work in the next generation? It's obviously going to be more than likely Xbox, or Xbox meaning console and PC exclusive, and that is definitely going to help them. So they're positioning themselves well, but just because they bought the studios, those labors have not produced fruit yet, but they will. So I think Microsoft has the ability to walk into an A, but they're not quite there yet. On the services side, this one is easy. This one is easy because we all know that Xbox Live is the best in class service. It outperforms Sony and Nintendo, and Xbox Live is the gold standard for online gameplay, especially on a console. And then Microsoft also has things like Game Pass. Game Pass is another great service. For $10 a month, you can get access to over 100 games instantly, including on day one, Microsoft's first party products. And then they also have things like Game Cloud, which are Game Cloud X Cloud, which is coming down the pipeline. Now, we haven't obviously seen this outside of the limited testing environments, but we know it's real, we know it's happening, and we know we're going to be seeing more of it soon. And then they also have crossplay, right? The PC is sort of the ace in the sleeve of Microsoft's gaming strategy because games work in some capacity on both platforms. And I think we're going to see that interoperability expand significantly here in the future. I haven't talked a lot about PC gaming on this analysis. We'll do a separate video on that down the road, but there's reasons for that. But for Microsoft on the services side, they are clearly getting an A. There's no other way to describe it. They have the best-in-class services currently. Now, on the hardware side, the consoles back here, Microsoft has done a good job, right? They have the Xbox One S at the low end. They have, well, soon to be Maverick at the very, very low end. Then they have the Xbox One S. And now they also have the Xbox One X. They have done a wonderful job. They've also been very reliable, especially compared to the Xbox 360. They have a more powerful console than Sony. Yes, Sony has sold more of them, but I think it's worthy of giving Microsoft an A in the hardware department, purely on hardware. I know someone's going to scream like, well, they don't have the games on the hardware. This isn't talking about games, folks. This is talking purely hardware, purely hardware. And then they also have options. They have obviously the Xbox controller. They have the adaptive controller. They have the Elite controller. They give you options, and I think Microsoft has a very good hardware strategy in place. So digging through, we got cloud with an A, fan base with a B, IP with a B, services with an A, and hardware with an A. So I think Microsoft is well positioned for the next generation of gaming. That shouldn't come as a big surprise. They need to perform flawlessly, right? They need to execute on xCloud and make sure that it is the best service available. They need to make sure that their IP that is in the works that they're working on with these all these studios that they bought materializes in a way that drives value to the brand and isn't just another like, oh, here's a game and then nobody ever plays it again. And then obviously get the pricing and get the delivery of Anaconda and Lockhart and all those next generation consoles extremely on point. So Microsoft is in good position, and this has been another look at the next generation gaming analysis from Microsoft.